My name is Sarah Bennett. I am 25 years old. I work as a maid in the city. I do not wear expensive clothes. I do not talk loudly. I do not walk like I own the world. I move quietly. I learn the rules. I do my work. People like me are easy to ignore. Some people think maids are invisible. Some people think we don't feel embarrassment, or pain, or dreams. But we do. We feel everything. We just don't show it in front of others. Every morning, I wake up at 5:30. I wash my face with cold water. I tie my hair back. I put on my simple uniform. Then I walk to the bus stop and ride 2 buses to reach a rich neighbourhood with tall trees and quiet streets. That neighbourhood is like another world. That is where Mr. Julian Moore lives. He is 34 years old. He owns a company that builds software for banks and businesses. People in the city know his name. Some people respect him. Some people fear him. They say he is strict. They say he is cold. They say he never smiles. I did not know if those things were true. I only knew what I saw. I saw a man who lived alone in a large house that always felt empty. And I saw a man who never shouted at me. On my first day, he opened the door himself. That surprised me. Rich people usually let others open doors for them. He looked at my uniform and then at my face. "Good morning," he said. "Good morning, sir," I answered. "I'm Julian," he said, like he wanted to make the distance smaller. "You can call me Mr. Moore if you prefer." I didn't know what to say. So I said, "Mr. Moore is fine." He nodded. The house behind him was beautiful. Clean lines, soft lights, large windows, but it didn't feel like a home. It felt like a place someone slept in between working. He showed me the cleaning list and the schedule. His voice was calm. His words were simple. Then he said something I did not expect. "If anything feels unsafe or too heavy, tell me." I stared at him for a second. "Thank you," I said quietly. He stepped back and let me walk in. That was the first time I felt something strange in my chest. Not love, not excitement, just surprise. Because I was used to being treated like I was replaceable. I came from a small town where people knew your story before you told it. My father died when I was 13. A heart problem. One day he was standing. The next day, he was gone. After that, my mother worked in a bakery. She woke up earlier than anyone. She came home late, smelling like flour and tiredness. We were poor, but we were close. Then my mother got sick. Not a simple sickness, a long sickness. The type that eats your savings first, then your hope, then your strength. I left school early. I took small jobs. I cleaned homes in my town. Then I moved to the city because I needed more money. The city does not care about your past. It cares about what you can do today. I found work through an agency. They sent me to Mr. Moore's house because his last maid quit suddenly. The agency didn't tell me why. They just said, "He pays on time. Don't make mistakes." I promised myself I would not make mistakes. For the first 2 weeks, we hardly spoke. I arrived, cleaned, and left. Sometimes he was in meetings. Sometimes he was gone. I noticed small things. He drank coffee without sugar. He kept his kitchen spotless, like he didn't use it much. His fridge was full of ready-made meals, but many of them were unopened. He had a bookshelf with many books, but no family photos anywhere. No pictures of parents, no brothers or sisters, no childhood. Only one framed photo sat on his desk in the office room. It was turned face down. I never touched it. I was not there to ask questions, but the house had a feeling. It felt like someone was holding their breath all the time. And sometimes, When I cleaned the living room, I could see him on the balcony at night through the window. He would stand there in silence, staring at the city lights, like he was waiting for something, or like he was trying to forget something. One afternoon, a heavy box arrived at the door. The delivery man left it quickly. The box was labelled fragile. I brought it inside. It was too heavy for me. I tried to push it across the floor, but it slipped and fell. A sharp sound filled the hall. My heart jumped. I froze. I thought I had broken something expensive. Mr. Moore came out of his office. His face was serious. He looked at the box, then at me. "I'm sorry," I said quickly. "I didn't mean—" He raised his hand slightly. Not angry, more like, "Stop hurting yourself with fear." "Are you okay?" he asked. I blinked. "Yes, I think so." He walked closer, kneeled down, and checked the R box. The corner had a small crack. He sighed, but not in anger. He looked at me again. "It's fine," he said. "It can be replaced." I didn't understand. Most people would be angry. Most people would say, "Do you know how expensive that is?" But he didn't. He picked up the box like it was nothing and carried it into the office. Then he paused at the door and said, "Thank you for trying." I stood there, confused. That night, on the bus ride home, I kept thinking about that sentence. Thank you for trying. No one had thanked me for trying before. People thanked me when I succeeded, when I cleaned perfectly, when I stayed quiet, not when I made a mistake. A week later, I hurt my ankle. It was my fault. I was rushing. I wanted to finish early so I could go visit my mother at the clinic. I cleaned the stairs too quickly and my foot slipped. Pain hit me like fire. I sat down hard. Tears filled my eyes, but I tried to swallow them. I didn't want to cry in a rich man's house. I didn't want to look weak, but the pain was sharp. Mr. Moore heard the sound and came running. He stopped when he saw me. "Sarah," he said, his voice different. Worried. "I'm okay," I lied immediately. He stepped closer. "No, you're not. Your face is pale." "I can stand," I said, trying to move. He crouched beside me, careful and respectful. He didn't touch me suddenly. He asked first. "May I?" he said, pointing to my ankle. I nodded, embarrassed. He gently looked at it. It was swelling. "You're going to the clinic," he said. "No, I can't," I whispered. "I have to. I have to work." His eyes hardened, but not at me, at the idea. "You're not a machine," he said firmly. He called a driver. He drove with me to the clinic. He paid without asking questions. He waited outside while the doctor wrapped my ankle. When I came out, I expected him to look annoyed. Instead he asked, "Do you have someone at home?" I hesitated. "No." He nodded like he understood something deeper. "I'll arrange for you to rest," he said, "and your pay will not change." My throat tightened. "Sir, why are you doing this?" He looked away for a second, like he was searching for words. Then he said, "Because it's the right thing." That was all. But it was enough. I came back to work 2 days later with a brace on my ankle. I walked slowly. Mr. Moore was in the kitchen, making tea. That surprised me. I had never seen him cook. He looked up. "You should still be resting," he said. "I can work," I replied. He didn't argue. He poured tea into 2 cups and pointed to the chair. "Sit," he said gently. 5 minutes. I sat because my body was tired and because his voice did not allow refusal. He handed me a cup. It was warm. It smelled like mint. For a moment, we sat in silence. Then he asked, "Do you like this job?" I didn't know how to answer. If I said no, it might sound ungrateful. If I said yes, It might sound like a lie. So I said the truth. I like the money, I said softly. I need it. He nodded slowly, like he respected honesty. Family, he asked. My mother, I said. She's ill. He paused. I'm sorry. No one in the city ever said that with real meaning. I looked down. It's okay. I want to take care of her. He stared at his tea. Then he said, That's a heavy thing to carry alone. I didn't reply, because yes, it was heavy, but I was used to it. He didn't push me. He didn't ask more. That day something changed. Not romance, not a relationship, but a crack opened in the wall between employer and maid. A small crack, enough for light to enter. As weeks passed, I noticed more. He was quiet, but he was not careless. One day, he saw me reading a small book during my break. He didn't laugh. He didn't act surprised. What are you reading? He asked. A storybook, I answered quickly. Just simple English. He nodded. Stories can save people. That sentence felt strange, like it came from experience. Another day, he saw a bruise on my arm from carrying heavy trash bags. Use the trolley, he said. I didn't see it, I replied. He walked to the storage room and brought it to me himself. Then he said, If someone ever treated you badly in this house, tell me. I almost smiled. There is only you. He looked at me carefully, then said, Still, tell me. For the first time, I wondered if he had once lived in a house where people treated others badly, or if he had been treated badly himself. Then the visitor came. It was a Saturday. I usually did deep cleaning on Saturdays. Mr. Moore was at home, working in his office. A black car arrived outside. A woman stepped out. She was tall, dressed in expensive clothes, with perfect hair and sharp eyes. She walked in like she owned the place. I'm looking for Julian, she said without greeting me. May I ask who you are? I replied politely. She looked at me like she was looking at dust. I'm Claudia Moore, she said. His cousin. My stomach tightened. Family. I knocked on Mr. Moore's office door. He came out. The moment he saw her, his face changed. Not fear, not happiness, tension. Claudia, he said flatly. They spoke in low voices. I didn't listen. I moved away to continue cleaning, but I could feel the air in the house turn cold. After a while, Claudia looked at me again. Does she live here? She asked. Mr. Moore's voice stayed calm. She works here. Claudia smiled, but it wasn't kind. Be careful, Julian. People attach themselves to comfort. I felt heat rush to my face, shame, anger, but I stayed silent. I was a maid. The world expected silence from me. Claudia left after an hour. Before leaving, she said something to Mr. Moore that made my heart sink. You can't hide forever. The board will ask questions, and if the press finds out, you will lose everything. Press? Board? I didn't understand, but I knew one thing. Mr. Moore was hiding something big. That same week, a letter arrived. It had a law firm stamp. Mr. Moore opened it at the kitchen counter. I was cleaning nearby. I wasn't trying to watch, but I saw his hands shake slightly. He read the first page and sat down slowly. He looked like someone had punched him in the chest. I stepped back, ready to leave the room, but he looked up at me and said, Sarah, can you stay for a minute? I froze. Yes, sir. He swallowed. I need water. I brought him water. He drank, then stared at the letter again. What is it? I asked before I could stop myself. He hesitated. Then to my surprise he answered. It's about my father, he said. I blinked. Your father? He died last year, he said quietly. We were not close. I didn't know what to say. He continued. This letter says there's a legal matter. Something he left behind. Something that could ruin my company. My heart beat faster. Why? He didn't answer. He looked at me as if he was deciding something. Then he said, because my father wasn't the man people thought he was. I felt a chill run through me. That night, I went home, but my mind stayed in that house. The next day, I arrived to work and found the house in chaos. 2 men in suits were in the living room. They carried folders and spoke like they owned the place. Claudia was there too. Mr. Moore's jaw was tight. I tried to stay invisible and go to the kitchen, but Claudia stopped me. "Don't move around," she said. "We're discussing sensitive matters." Mr. Moore looked at her sharply. She can do her job. Claudia's eyes narrowed. This is bigger than her job. One of the men opened a folder and said, "Mr. Moore, we have confirmation. There are offshore accounts linked to your father's name, and the signature matches yours." Mr. Moore stood up fast. "That's impossible." The man continued, "It's not impossible. It's in the documents. If this becomes public, you could be accused of financial fraud." My stomach dropped. Fraud? Mr. Moore looked like someone had poured ice into his veins. Claudia spoke softly, but cruelly. "You see, this is why you should have listened to me. You should have stayed away from complications." Her eyes flicked toward me, like she was blaming me for his problems. But I wasn't the problem. The problem was bigger, darker. And suddenly, I understood something. Mr. Moore wasn't just lonely. He was surrounded by enemies. The house felt different after that day. The walls were the same. The furniture was the same. But something invisible had cracked. I could feel it in the air when I walked from room to room. Mr. Moore stopped working from home. He left early and returned late. Sometimes he didn't come home at all. When he did, his face looked tired, in a way sleep could not fix. And Claudia kept coming back. She arrived without warning, always dressed perfectly, always carrying papers, always watching me, like I was a stain she wanted to remove. I learned quickly that she was not just a cousin. She was power. One morning, Mr. Moore asked me to sit down. That had never happened before. "Sarah," he said slowly, "I need to be honest with you." My hands rested on my knees. I felt nervous. "There may be people coming to the house," he continued. "Lawyers, investigators, journalists." My chest tightened. "You don't have to stay," he added quickly. "If you want to leave, I understand." I looked at him. Truly looked at him. He wasn't ordering me. He wasn't pushing me away. He was giving me a choice. "I need this job," I said honestly, "but I don't want trouble." He nodded. "I won't let anyone hurt you." I didn't know then how hard that promise would be to keep. It started quietly. A neighbour stared at me longer than usual. A shop owner whispered when I walked past. Someone at the bus stop took a photo of me. Then one afternoon my phone buzzed. A message from a number I didn't know. "Do you enjoy sleeping your way into a rich man's house?" My heart stopped. I stared at the screen, my fingers shaking. Another message came. "We know who you are." I deleted them. I told myself it was nothing, but the next day I saw it. An online article, not about Mr. Moore's company, about me. Business tycoon's MAID at centre of scandal. My photo was there, taken without my permission, blurry but clear enough. They said I was manipulating him. They said I was a distraction. They said I was dangerous. I felt sick. The confrontation. That evening, Mr. Moore came home early. He saw my face and knew immediately. "I'm so sorry," he said. "This is my fault." "It's not," I replied, but my voice broke. He clenched his jaw. "They're using you to hurt me." "Why?" I whispered. He looked away. "Because I refused to play my father's game." The truth about his father that night, he finally told me everything. His father had built the company using illegal shortcuts, bribes, fake accounts, hidden money. When his father died, Julian inherited not just money, but secrets. "I tried to clean it," he said. "I tried to fix it quietly." "But they won't let you," I said. He nodded. "Because people like Claudia don't survive on honesty." I realized then that this wasn't just a business problem. It was a war. A week later, Claudia came with news. She didn't look at me when she spoke. "The board wants distance," she said to Julian. "They want you to step down temporarily." "And Sarah?" Julian asked. Claudia smiled coldly. "She must go, immediately." I felt like the floor disappeared. Julian stood up. "No." Claudia's eyes flashed. "Then you lose everything." The room went silent. Julian looked at me. I already knew what I had to do. That night, I packed my things. Julian tried to stop me. "This isn't fair," he said. "It's not," I replied, "but I won't be used as a weapon against you." He looked broken. "You're not just an employee anymore," he said softly. I swallowed hard. "That's why I have to leave." I left the house before sunrise. No goodbye kiss, no promises, only pain. Life after that was hard, harder than before. I lost my job. The agency stopped calling. The rumours followed me everywhere. Landlords refused to rent to me. Employers turned me away politely. "You seem complicated," they said. My mother's health worsened. I felt like I had lost everything, except my dignity. One evening, I received a letter, not from Julian, from a woman named Mrs. Eleanor Finch. She was a retired teacher. She owned a small cleaning company. "I don't care what the internet says," she told me when we met. "I care how you work." She gave me a job, not in a mansion, in offices, schools, normal places. I worked harder than ever, and slowly. People stopped whispering. Months passed. Julian's company collapsed publicly. His name was everywhere. But then something unexpected happened. The truth came out. The illegal accounts were traced back to his father. Julian had tried to stop it. Claudia was arrested. The board resigned. Julian was cleared. But his reputation was destroyed. I hadn't seen him in months. Then one evening after work, I saw him standing across the street. No suit, no car, just him. "Sarah," he said. I froze. "I lost everything," he continued, "and I realized I never lost you. I let you go." Tears filled my eyes. "I didn't leave because I didn't care," I said. "I left because I cared too much." He nodded. "I'm starting over," he said. "From nothing." I smiled through tears. So am I. When Julian said he was starting over, I believed him. Not because of his words, but because of how he looked. There was no pride left in his posture, no protection in his voice. He was no longer the powerful man everyone feared or admired. He was just a man standing in front of me, honest and tired. "I don't expect anything from you," he said. "I just wanted you to know the truth." I nodded slowly. "I'm glad you did," I replied. We stood there for a long moment, saying nothing. Then he asked quietly, "Can I walk you home?" I hesitated. Then I said yes. We did not rush back into each other's lives. Julian moved into a small apartment on the other side of the city. He sold his car. He stopped wearing expensive clothes. He started consulting for small businesses, quietly, without his name on headlines. I continued working with Mrs. Finch's cleaning company. I cleaned offices during the day and studied at night. I had enrolled in an online course, basic business and accounting. For the first time in my life, I was learning for myself. Julian and I met sometimes for coffee. Just coffee. We talked about normal things. Work, stress, fear, hope. One day, he said something that stayed with me. I used to think success was control, he said. Now I think it's peace. I smiled. I think success is choice. He looked at me and nodded. That too. One evening, Julian came to see me after work. I want to ask you something, he said. I braced myself. Not about us, he added quickly. About you. I relaxed slightly. Okay. He took a breath. I want to rebuild my company, he said. Small, clean, honest. But I won't do it the old way. I waited. I want a partner, he continued. Someone who understands work from the ground up. Someone who knows dignity. I looked at him, confused. Me? I asked. Yes, he said firmly. Not because you were my maid, but because you survived something that broke me. My heart raced. But only if you want it, he added. Only if it's equal. I felt something shift inside me. For the first time, someone wasn't offering rescue. They were offering respect. I need time, I said honestly. He smiled. Take all the time you need. If you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to English Stories with Anna. Your support helps stories like this continue. I didn't answer Julian right away. I thought about my mother, my past, my fears. I talked to Mrs. Finch. I talked to my mother. My mother held my hands and said something I will never forget. Love is not when someone lifts you, she said. Love is when they stand beside you. That night, I called Julian. I'll do it, I said, but only if I keep my job too. Only if I grow on my own. He didn't hesitate. Of course, he said, I wouldn't want it any other way. The next year was hard. We worked long hours. We failed. We tried again. People still whispered sometimes. She was just a maid. He ruined himself. But something had changed. Those words no longer owned me. I had my own income, my own skills, my own confidence. Julian never introduced me as his past. He introduced me as his partner. And slowly, quietly, we built something real. One evening, after a long day, Julian asked me to walk with him. We walked through a small park near our offices. The trees were quiet. The city felt far away. He stopped near a bench. Sarah, he said. I knew. I once thought I had everything, he continued, but I didn't know who I was until I lost it. He looked at me, his eyes steady. You walked away when it would have been easier to stay, he said. You chose dignity over comfort. He took my hands. I don't want to build a life for you, he said. I want to build one with you. He knelt down. Will you marry me, not as my maid, not as my rescue, but as my equal? Tears filled my eyes. Yes, I whispered. Yes. We did not invite the world. We invited peace. The wedding was small, simple, honest. My mother cried. Mrs. Finch smiled proudly. A few close friends stood around us. Julian wore a simple suit. I wore a white dress that I paid for myself. When we said our vows, I felt strong, not lucky, strong. I was once a maid in a rich man's house. Now I am a wife, a business partner, a woman with a voice. But more than anything, I am no longer invisible. If this story moved you, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. More emotional and simple English stories are coming soon.